Welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most shocking stories to rock the entertainment world in recent memory. Sean Diddy Combs, yes, the same Diddy who revolutionized music, fashion, and even television, is now facing an explosive legal battle that has left fans, critics, and industry insiders reeling. It's hard to overstate just how influential Diddy has been. Over the past few decades, he's been more than just a music mogul. He's been a cultural icon with a reputation for throwing lavish parties and living a life of extreme wealth and excess. But recently, that very lifestyle has come under scrutiny. Today, we're breaking down the shocking allegations outlined in a recent federal indictment that claims Diddy orchestrated what have been termed freak-offs. Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild, disturbing ride. We'll take you through what the term freak-off really means, the criminal charges facing Diddy, and how this scandal is putting a dark spotlight on the music industry as a whole. By the end of this video, you'll understand why these allegations are so much more than tabloid gossip. They have real implications for Diddy's future and for how we think about celebrity culture. In August 2024, the world was shocked when news broke that Diddy had been indicted on several serious charges, including racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. For many, it seemed impossible to reconcile Diddy, who built Bad Boy Records and hosted star-studded galas, with the man accused of such dark and disturbing acts. The indictment has sent shockwaves through not only the music industry, but also the broader world of entertainment. Let's be clear, these allegations are serious and they are detailed. Federal prosecutors are not playing around. They've spent years gathering evidence, interviewing witnesses, and compiling what they believe is a solid case against Diddy and several associates. But what exactly are they accusing him of? The charges suggest a pattern of manipulation, coercion, and abuse, all centered around these so-called freak-offs. But Diddy's legal woes don't stop there. He's also facing potential charges for drug distribution, conspiracy, and even filming illicit acts without consent. The gravity of these charges can't be overstated. They're the kind that could lead to decades in prison if he's convicted. This isn't just another celebrity scandal. This is a case that could redefine the way we think about power, consent, and abuse in the entertainment industry. The indictment represents years of alleged misconduct, and its revelations are nothing short of disturbing. So what exactly is a freak-off? The term itself is bizarre, almost comical at first glance, but don't be fooled by the wording. According to the indictment, a freak-off refers to a carefully orchestrated event where Diddy allegedly used his power and influence to lure women into highly sexualized performances. These performances involved multiple participants and were allegedly recorded without the participants' knowledge or consent. What makes these parties even more sinister is the way they were structured. According to the government's case, Diddy would promise these women romantic relationships, luxury, and fame, only to coerce them into acts they did not consent to, all under the guise of personal or professional opportunity. Picture this. These women, often lured with promises of affection or career advancement, find themselves at lavish parties where lines between consent and coercion are blurred. Drugs are reportedly used as a way to control behavior, with substances like ketamine and ecstasy being distributed freely to ensure compliance. This isn't just about isolated incidents. Prosecutors allege that these freak-offs were a recurring theme, happening over the course of many years, each one darker than the last. It raises critical questions about the abuse of power in celebrity culture. What happens when someone like Diddy, who holds enormous social and economic power, manipulates people into these kinds of situations? Now, let's talk about one of the most controversial elements of this entire case: substance use. According to multiple testimonies included in the indictment, drugs were a central part of these freak-offs. Witnesses describe scenes where controlled substances like ketamine, ecstasy, and cocaine were freely distributed to partygoers, many of whom were women Diddy allegedly coerced into participating in these sexual encounters. And here's where things get legally complicated: the issue of consent. Under normal circumstances, legal consent can be a gray area, but when drugs are involved, the lines get even blurrier. Ketamine, for example, is a powerful sedative often used recreationally in party settings, but it also has a known side effect: it can severely impair judgment and memory. So if someone is under the influence of ketamine or ecstasy, can they truly give consent to engage in sexual activities? Legal experts argue that consent given under the influence of of powerful substances like these is not valid. In other words, if the prosecution can prove that drugs were involved, Diddy's argument that these acts were consensual may completely fall apart. The legal implications of this are massive. It's not just about whether these women agreed to participate, it's about whether they were even capable of agreeing in the first place. This point could very well become the cornerstone of the prosecution's case as it moves forward. Another deeply disturbing aspect of this case is the claim that Diddy recorded these encounters without the participants' knowledge or consent. Imagine the horror, discovering that not only were you coerced into a situation you didn't want to be in, but that it was secretly filmed and could be used as leverage or distributed without your permission. According to the indictment, Diddy had cameras set up during these events, capturing everything. Prosecutors claim they have already seized videos and images as evidence, taken from over 90 cell phones, laptops, and other digital devices that were recovered during raids. This brings up significant questions about privacy, trust, and legal violation. Recording someone without their consent during intimate moments is not only morally wrong, but also illegal in most jurisdictions. These recordings could provide damning evidence against Diddy, showing that these encounters were more than just questionable, they were outright abusive. These secret recordings speak to a larger issue that's all too common in cases involving power and celebrity: the imbalance of trust. For the victims, it's not just about what happened in those moments. It's about the lasting impact of that betrayal. As more women come forward, the scope of Diddy's alleged behavior becomes clearer and darker. Several women have already shared their stories, detailing the emotional manipulation, abuse, and trauma they endured. The most high-profile testimony so far has come from Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, also known as Cassie. Cassie's story is perhaps the most chilling. According to her account, Diddy didn't just force her into participating in these freak offs. He made her responsible for arranging them. She claims he pressured her to hire male sex workers to perform at these events. Cassie describes a relationship marked by control, manipulation, and fear, where she felt powerless to resist Diddy's demands. It's important to note that these allegations aren't just coming from one or two people. Prosecutors say they've interviewed dozens of witnesses, many of whom recount similar stories of coercion and abuse. These testimonies are pivotal, not just in building a legal case, but in painting a picture of the environment Diddy allegedly created. The women who've come forward describe feeling trapped, manipulated by promises of affection, fame, or financial security, only to find themselves part of a larger, far more sinister agenda. These stories give weight to the allegations and show just how deep the situation goes. So where does Diddy go from here? His legal team has mounted an aggressive defense, and from what we've seen so far, it appears they will argue that these freak-offs were consensual. It's a common defense tactic in cases involving sexual misconduct, suggesting that both parties willingly participated. But as we've discussed, if the prosecution can prove that drugs were used to manipulate or impair consent, that defense could crumble. This case will likely hinge on two things: the testimonies of those who've come forward and the physical evidence, like those secret recordings. If the prosecution can prove that Diddy knowingly manipulated and coerced these women, even without their explicit knowledge of being filmed, the consequences could be devastating for his career and his freedom. This legal battle will also be fought in the public eye. Diddy's reputation is already taking a massive hit, and the trial hasn't even started yet. We're seeing brands and collaborators distance themselves from him, and public opinion seems to be swaying against him as more details come to light. It's impossible to look at this case without considering the larger context. The entertainment industry has long been rife with stories of abuse, exploitation, and manipulation. Diddy's case is just the latest in a series of high-profile scandals that have rocked Hollywood, the music industry, and beyond. The Me Too movement opened the floodgates, exposing how pervasive sexual abuse and misconduct are in industries where power imbalances are common. While Diddy's case is shocking, it's not entirely surprising when you consider the history of these industries. It's a story as old as fame itself, those with power using it to exploit others, often behind closed doors and under the guise of opportunity. But what does this mean for us as fans, as consumers of media? How do we reconcile the art we love with the reality of the people who create it? Can we separate the art from the artist, or are these scandals forcing us to confront uncomfortable truths about the people we've idolized? It's a debate that's been raging for years, and Diddy's case adds another layer to it. If these allegations are proven true, it will force fans to reconsider their relationship with his music, his legacy, and the larger entertainment machine that allowed this kind of behavior to go unchecked for so long. So what happens next? As we've seen in the past, these kinds of legal battles can take years to fully play out. But one thing is certain, the allegations against Sean Diddy Combs have already had a profound impact. His legacy, once defined by chart-topping hits, business ventures, and cultural influence, now stands on the precipice of being defined by scandal and abuse. The case is far from over, and we'll continue to follow it closely as more details emerge. But in the meantime, it's clear that Diddy's public image has been forever changed. Whether he's found guilty or not, these allegations will haunt his career, his personal life, and his place in the annals of music history. So what do you think? Do you believe the accusations against Diddy, or do you think he's being unfairly targeted? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video informative, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth coverage of the biggest stories in the news. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.